Hey, what's going on everyone? Hawks21 here, back with another Splinterlands video. So, as you know, with the recent reward cards, there's been some new abilities added to the game. One of which, you can see here, my Venari Markscrat has it. It is called Martyr. When this monster dies, adjacent monsters get +1 to all stats, so it effectively gives Bloodlust to the two monsters next to it. Obviously, people haven't really leveled up Martyr cards, so you haven't seen a lot of gameplay, at gold or diamond or champion level because, these cards don't bring enough to the table just by itself. However, I recently played in a gold tournament and I said, you know what, the stakes are pretty low. Let me try to do some Martyr plays. So I'm going to have two battles to show you today utilizing Martyr. And they worked out very, very, very well. This ability is really great. The second battle is the best one, but this battle I thought was interesting as well. And you'll see that the Martyr ability actually ends up being key. Leveling up my Rooney and my Tidebiter ends up being one of the key points in this battle, which you'll see. But before we get into the gameplay analysis, I am Hawks21 and I cover Splinterlands here on the channel. If these type of videos interest you, if you're into Splinterlands, if you're into the strategy of Splinterlands, this is the right channel for you. And if you haven't joined our YouTube community yet, all you have to do is hit that subscribe button right below the video. That would be greatly appreciated. Come join the family. Okay, so right away, what do you notice? And these two rule sets, these two battles that I play are going to have the same thing in common. They have snipe. Okay, so what that tells me is most backline monsters, so anyone with range, anyone with magic, there's not a lot of range and magic that have sneak or that have opportunity. So for the most part, anything in the back with range or magic is going to hit the snipe position, which if you don't know, the snipe position is going to be the first position in the back line that has a ranged attack monster, a magic attack monster, or a no attack monster. It ignores the melee spots. So in this case, Bakjira is the first monster. It has no attack, but snipe position ignores the first monster. So snipe position then. Second monster's here, the Tidebiter. Oh, that's a melee monster. So then it'll go to the next monster, which is a ranged monster, which is the Venari Markscrat in question. So I want to put my Martyr monster in the spot I think is going to get attacked because of this rule set. And because of the blast, I'm going to put it between two reflection shield monsters. So the other concept here with a situation like this with blast and no shield, you have to be ready for opportunity plays. So the other thing I did was I wanted to make sure I didn't bring sort of a bunch of low health situations. I did bring the Torrent Fiend and put it over here, just because if they brought like a sneak, I guess, which they did, obviously, it would hit the Torrent Fiend and then, my Rooney wouldn't take any damage. So it would basically just soak up a hit. And as you can see, they did bring two opportunities. So I didn't get the snipe play, but combined with all three of these rule sets, the other reason you want to play opportunity and blast, because you have the chance to hit one, do blast here, do blast here. So you want to get your shots into the back line. So that's why I cushioned my lowest health monster, the Markscrat, in between the two monsters I want to boost, and the two monsters I wanted to boost also happen to have reflection shield, so they wouldn't take the blast damage. So this battle basically will just show you the mechanic, and there's going to be some things where you have to remember, this has 3 attack, this has 3 attack. It works out kind of strange in a couple plays where a lot of these monsters on my opponent's side are going to end up having 4 health. So without the boost of the Martyr ability, it would have taken an extra turn to eliminate them. And that could have been the difference between me winning or losing this match. All right, let's get into it. So their first attack that goes is actually going to be the sneak monster that takes out my Fiend. There it is, takes out my Fiend. But now, here comes, it's going to be the Dragon Jumper that takes out my Mark Scrat. Boom. All right, it's going to go to 0, and now you'll see how the Martyr ability triggers. Neither of them take Blast because they have Reflection Shield. Martyr, Martyr. So they both gained a attack, gained a speed, gained a health. Attack, speed, health. So now they both hit for 4. And watch how that sort of changes the dynamic of the match. So here, right, whenever my Rooney goes, which is going to go after their Deep Lurker, if it only had 3 attack, the Kelp Initiate would be sitting here with 1 left, right? And we wouldn't move the Deep Lurker into the front position, which we want these cards getting into the front position, attacking the Bakjira, because the Bakjira can heal through everything, and the blast damage won't touch my TIE Biter because of the Reflection Shield. So the faster we can get these monsters up here, the better, which means eliminating these front monsters. If it wasn't for the Martyr boost, it would take a whole extra turn to get through the Kelp Initiate, which would allow these guys more time to tee off on my back line, which is exactly what I can't have. See, like right there, it does a ton of damage, but now the Deep Lurker is in the front position. We don't have to worry about that as much. Boom. Luckily, we don't take any blast damage. There goes my TIE Biter. So now, we don't look like we're in that great of a spot, right? And then here, okay? So, I don't know. Actually, this would matter, because if we were to lose our... So the Rooney would have Self-Resurrect, and so I think we would have been fine anyways in this particular case. Probably not with the first hit, right, if we didn't get through the Kelp Initiate. But the same thing happens here. So the Dragon Jumper was down to 2, got healed up to 4. If the Rooney still had 3 attack, the Dragon Jumper would be left with 1 health. And, you know, maybe it gets a couple stuns in a row, and Bakjira, you know, can't heal itself. If the circumstances were a little different, this could be the difference between me winning or losing the match. So, instead, my Rooney's down to 1 health, and we're able to get through the Dragon Jumper. You know, and now it doesn't matter because my Bakjira can heal through, so even if it did take a couple turns, it would have been fine. So that's the first battle. You know, get 1 Martyr off, give your key cards a couple boosts, and they perform a lot better. You know, nothing too crazy there, nothing too complicated, just sort of a basic use case for the Martyr ability. Now, this battle is a lot more interesting. So it kind of reminds me of a previous battle I showed in one of my other gameplay analysis videos. Do you remember that one where it was magic only, and I said, find the key card? And the key card here was the Jin Oceanus. And the reason why the Jin Oceanus was the key card was because only magic monsters could be used, and the only card available that had Void, that had Phase, was the Jin Oceanus. So we knew, and it was also a snipe rule set in that battle, so most people thought, we'll put the Jin Oceanus in the first position, because we want to keep it alive for as long as possible, it's the most important monster. When in reality, the Jin Oceanus was the key card there because you wanted the Jin Oceanus to be the one being shot at, to being attacked by your opponent's magic monsters, by your opponent's ranged monsters. It was magic monsters in that case. Because it had the advantage, it had the ability to cut that damage with Void or dodge it. No other monster had Void, no other monster has Phase, so you knew when any other monster got to that second position, it was going to get eliminated. It couldn't dodge magic damage, it couldn't cut it with Void, and that's where my opponent went wrong in that video. I was able to whittle away their entire back line as they were trying to get rid of my Jin, and eventually I had most of my monsters left, they only had their Jin, and it was too late, right? I had too much firepower, even though the Jin was the most important card. So this situation is a little different, obviously, because you look around here, it's not magic only, right? But you know there's no melee attack. So you're expecting ranged and magic. Preparing for magic, that means void is much, much more powerful here. And so my key card in this lineup is the Ifrit Elder. And the reason is, when you take into account the speed boost from Kitty, gets it up to 6, in the gold level, when this goes hopefully into Last Stand, if you can get it into Last Stand, you're talking 9 speed, 3 magic attack, and a bunch of health. So that's important to remember. 3 magic attack and 9 health in Last Stand, as it is normally. But we know something. We know, again, just like the last one, any non-melee monsters that have attack, so ranged or magic, have to fire at the snipe position. And the snipe position here is going to be this second position. So what am I able to do? I am able to put my Martyr in that second position. I am then able to bring a Resurrect to resurrect my Martyr, who I then know my opponent is going to immediately start firing at again, and trigger the Martyr ability again. And what is this going to do? This is going to start boosting my Ifrit Elder. So instead of 3, 9, 14, you'll see what it actually turns into. And this is 100% the difference between me winning and losing this match. So why did I put the Ifrit Elder in the first position? Well, to trigger this Last Stand, right? All of these attacks, except for this upfront monster, is going to go to the second position. It's going to go through the Firecaller, it's going to go through the Oshur, it's going to go through the Scavo, it's going to go through the Lava Spider. And the only monster that can attack the Ifrit Elder is the monster in front of it. Obviously, I'm a little worried about, if this stun monster gets up. Well, I mean, we would still have the health from the Kitty. Basically, if they brought some sort of affliction monster who then got to the front, I would be nervous because I want to heal the Ifrit Elder. So that's why I brought the Cleanse. And overall, this is all about boosting the Ifrit Elder, knowing there was a good chance if I put it into the first position, it would trigger Last Stand. So let's take a peek here. So, yep, going right to the second position. All right, and it's about to, our Martyr monster just died, and look what happens. Martyr, Martyr. So now, when you think about this with Last Stand, instead of 3 being the max attack, it's now up to 5. So we're not talking about a 5 attack Last Stand monster. We're not done. We resurrect it. Again, second Martyr triggers. Martyr, Martyr. So here you see the component of, or the strategy of resurrecting Martyrs. That's going to be a key strategy moving forward. How can you get Martyrs into the attack line of your opponent, and can you keep resurrecting them to boost the monster you want to get boosted, right? It's not an easy strategy to necessarily implement. You can't just do it sort of broadly across all battles. But there's going to be cases where you can dictate exactly where your opponent is going to do damage based on the rule set or whatever it is. And in those cases, if you can get a Martyr to that spot with some resurrects and have that spot be next to your key monster, whatever that is, whether it's a big tank, whatever monster you want to boost up, whether it's a life leech monster or something, it's going to be an awesome strategy. One of the cooler things I think about what's going to be coming to Splinterlands over the next coming months is going to be these sort of like level 2 crazy strategies involving Martyr, involving weapons training, where positioning and where you think your opponent is going to attack is going to be very key. So now all of a sudden, we were talking about a 3 damage Last Stand. Now, if the Ifrit Elder gets the Last Stand, we're looking at a 6 damage. So remember that. We went from a 3 to a 6. We're going to play on. And again, my backline doesn't really have a chance here. This wasn't a backline play. This was very much a, I want to get an insane Ifrit Elder into Last Stand mode and see what happens. No, and I can tell you what happens. It's going to be good. Alright, and they'll eliminate my Lava Spider here. Last Stand. So, 6, 11, 14. Why is that key? Well, we have a death blow monster, right? The Jin is going to be hitting for 6. They have enough damage here to... I can heal for 5. They have enough damage back here to get rid of my Alfred Elder over a couple turns. I didn't create this monster that, is impossible to get rid of. It's really, really difficult, especially given the 11 speed, right? We're talking 70% dodge chance, 70% dodge chance, 50%, 80%, 80%. So they would have to get a little lucky and hit their shots, but they do have enough damage back here. So why is getting up to 6 key? Well, every monster back here is now a one-shot KO. If we were at 3 still and we didn't boost up the Ifrit Elder, we eliminate here in 1. This takes 2, this takes 2, this takes 2, this takes 2. I still think, well, on top of that, actually, the speed would be lower, right? I was going to have a 9 speed previously. Now I have an 11. So that's a 20% additional dodge chance, which makes a big deal in the Last Stand monster when you're trying to fend off the necessary damage to take you down. Ultimately, we do get a lot of misses. Miss, miss, miss. And the 6 is just too much. Every single turn, they're going to have 1 less monster, guaranteed. So they got us down to 6 health right there. So they had it at 6 health, right? And that magic monster was hitting for 6, 8, 10, 13. We healed back up to 11. So there was a small window, if we weren't one-shotting all of their monsters, where they could have done enough damage combined to take my Ifrit Elder down in 2 turns. But he was too fast, had too much firepower, just didn't give the time for that to happen. Alright. I only have 2 for you today. Obviously, it's a new video. I don't have these cards leveled up. I haven't pulled a weapons training monster yet to even test that out. But as I sort of level these new cards up, try to find new synergies and strategies, I'm going to be delivering that content for you. If you want to hear about it before other people do and start working this into your lineups, you're in the right place. I really focus on Splinterlands battle strategy, and if that's up your alley, I would encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Come follow me on Twitter, say hello. Come into my Discord, say hello. Would love to have you join my larger Splinterlands community. All right, that's it for me today. The Martyr ability is here. It's fun. It's going to be fun to experiment with. I hope you guys are enjoying the game, and I will talk to you soon.